Hey guys, moving on to a new unit today. As you can see, we're going to start the French Revolution and a little man known as Napoleon. But to get us started, as you can see, we're going to start with the very beginning of the French Revolution and figure out how it got its start, why did it start, and what the results of it were, and how Napoleon will eventually take control. But to get us started with our first essential question, we're looking at what was France like prior to the start of the revolution. And as you can see on the picture, you have three different groups of people. The first one is the clergy, and arguably the most important out of the three. Next you have nobility, the kings, the queens, the dukes, princes, all that kind of stuff. And then the third class, you have everyone else, and these are done in order of importance. So first is the clergy, next is nobility, and then everybody else is kind of stuck in that third group. Some causes of the French Revolution. You have a corrupt and inefficient government. You have social and political inequality. You have some economic crisis. And then you have what happened here in America with the American Revolution is going to inspire the third group to take control for themselves and revolt against the government they see as corrupt. A couple things with French society. French society changed very little since medieval times. Known as Ancien Regime, or otherwise known as the Old Regime, divided into three rigid social classes called estates. You have the first estate, it's the clergy; the second estate, the nobles; and the third estate is the bourgeoisie, the urban poor, and the peasants. And political power is tied to the social status. So the higher in the estate level you are, the more political power you have, with the clergy having the most, the nobles having the second most, and then the bourgeoisie, the urban poor, and the peasants having little or no political power whatsoever. The first estate made up approximately 0.5% of the population, and it's going to be a huge discrepancy because they're going to own 10% of the land in France. Big divisions within this state. You have cardinals, bishops, and heads of monasteries came from wealthy second estate families. Priests were primarily from commoner families of third estates. However, they will be able to jump from that third estate up to the first estate just by becoming a priest. The second estate, approximately 1.5% of the population, so a little bit more than the first estate, but not that much at all. Owned 25 to 30% of the land. Wealth was the land, not cash. So the more land you owned, the wealthier you were. Economic problems hurt nobles too. Paying taxes would have been devastating, so they didn't have to. Held leadership positions in society, military, courts, and many felt Enlightenment ideas were too radical. They did not want these Enlightenment ideas to spread because it meant that their lot in life would change and they would be worse because of it. And then third estate, approximately 98% of the population, and they're going to own about 60 to 65% of the land. So once again, there's a big discrepancy there. They're going to have pretty much the vast majority of the people. They have control of most of the land, but there's not enough of it for everybody to go around. Made up of different occupations and income levels. Peasants, 80% of the estate. Half of peasants had no land. Resentful of duties owed to nobles. Fees to grind flour or press grapes. Work a certain number of days harvesting nobles' crops. Another group, the urban poor, low-wage occupations, cooks, servants, frequently out of work. And then lastly, the bourgeoisie. And the bourgeoisie are simply the middle class. They make up 8% of the total population. Well-educated merchants, bankers, industrialists, and other professionals. Some could move up to the second estate if they get a job in the public office. If they don't, then they are stuck in the third estate. These guys are the ones that are most drawn to the ideas of the Enlightenment. They read these Enlightenment ideas from all, because remember, they're well educated. They oppose rigid social order. They hate this idea of the first, second, and third estates. They want more everybody to be equal. They paid high taxes and wanted privileges to show for it. These are the guys who are going to be paying the majority of the taxes because they actually can, because they are the middle class, so they make more money. Did not necessarily want to abolish nobility, though. They didn't want to get rid of the kings and queens, to say. They just wanted more equality. But they hated absolute monarchy. Louis XVI is a weak ruler. They see the absolute monarchy as essentially as the worst, and they want to get rid of it. They see the king as the one that is making them pay these high taxes. They are not giving them any privileges, that are pretty much keeping them down. The American Revolution, remember, that's one of the causes that's going to help spark the French Revolution, is it inspires people to realize that tyranny can be challenged and defeated. In this case, tyranny of the king. France helped America win independence, proved a republic is superior to a monarchy, and taxation without representation. So these ideas are going to start spreading amongst France. They're going to see that the Americans won, and that this republic system of government is actually better than the monarchy that the French are having to deal with now. And that this idea of taxation without representation is important. They're going to want to be able to speak up, since they're the ones paying the taxes. They want to have some kind of say in the government and where their money goes to. New government formed using Enlightenment ideals: life, liberty, and property, human natural rights, consent to the governed, and equality for all under the law, and not just the first and second estate. The French third estate are going to want everybody to be held under the law, and not just certain groups of people. Financial crisis. Taxation problems. Could not raise enough money. Nobles and clergy free from paying taxes, and they wanted it to stay this way. Huge tax increase further burdened the poor. So you're going to have the poor become more and more upset that they're going to face more of the tax increases, while the nobles and the clergy aren't going to pay anything at all. Tremendous growth of government debt, foreign wars, extravagance of royal families, and not just Louis XVI, but his wife, his children, the archdukes, the dukes. Everybody is going to start spending more and more money and throwing these lavish parties, building these gigantic homes, and they're going to start seeing all that, and the government is going to go more and more in debt because of it. Economic depression. Bad harvests in 1787 and 1788 led to food shortages. Slowdown in manufacturing led to unemployment, and then severe inflation. Okay, as you can see, we will be doing this tomorrow. However, you guys may get started right now if you'd like to on doing it. Otherwise, we'll wait till tomorrow. And with that, that is the end of the lesson. So, I will see you guys next time when we go more in depth about what sparks the French Revolution. See you guys.